Did you just say that's a dumb take? That's a great take.
Start recording.
I've already started recording.
You ready, guys?
Bro, take it ahead.
We're ready, bro.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hike the Y, a BYU sports podcast. I'm Brandon here with my co-hosts Nate, Connor, and Ty. How's it going, guys?
Dude, it's going so good.
Chilling,
so happy
bro.
to be here.
Yeah, no, it's good.
All right, guys. This is our very first episode, and we're going to be talking about the Iowa State game that BYU played this last week, and then we'll be jumping ahead and previewing the Texas Tech matchup this coming Saturday. College game day will be there. It's going to be an exciting one.
Let's go.
It's going to be crazy.
Finally, not an SEC game, you know?
Hey.
They remember that the rest of college football exists.
Well, they went to Utah last week, right?
Yeah.
They go to Utah last week.
Why'd they do that, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's there in Salt Lake that we don't have in Provo? Just saying.
Let's get him on the podcast.
Air pollution. You got
Next
a lot
guest,
of
next
that up
guest,
in Salt
next
Lake.
guest, Pat McAfee out.
They realized that they did it wrong, and so now they're trying to cover BYU.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
There you go.
All right.
BYU, Texas Tech.
Let's jump right in. I'm just going to ask a question and open up to the group. Does BYU win this Iowa State game without the three crucial
Wait,
turnovers?
you mean Texas Tech game?
No, the Iowa State game.
Oh. My bad.
Yeah. The three crucial turnovers, the pick six, the kicked football on that punt, and then the pick where Rocco Bett just threw it right to CLA Sarah. Does BYU win that game without those turnovers? Which really, honestly, shouldn't have happened. Maybe the pick six to Salatala should have, because it was just a good defensive play. But besides that, really, those were lucky plays. You think BYU wins this game?
I think there's a chance they do, honestly, but you can see how big those turnovers were, especially the one on the special teams play where the guy kicked it. That was a pivotal moment in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out Greg Rubel. I was driving back from the Narrows listening to this on the radio, half falling asleep in the back of my car, and I'm like, oh, they're punting. Okay, whatever. I'm just going to take a nap. And then I was awoken to Greg just screaming through the mic, oh, it's kicked, it's kicked. So, yeah,
Greg Rubel gives me so much anxiety.
But anyways, I think it's possible, but that definitely made it a lot more comfortable of a win.
Mm-hmm. And then the fact that BYU scored like right afterwards, it was a huge moment, like you said.
Yeah, I think like the defense really they stepped up going from the first half to the second half. In the first half, they allowed 24 points. In the second half, only 3 points. Just listen to this. Third quarter, there's the special teams fumble recovery. Beginning of the fourth, one play and then a pick six.
Mm-hmm.
Next is a 4-and-out, turnover on downs, and then an interception. Like BYU's defense just stepped up immediately in the second half. Mm-hmm. And I think the tide of the game changed when BYU's defense started making plays. And I think you need to have those plays by the defense. But I do agree, if we didn't have those plays, we'd be losing that game.
Yeah, and let me add something to that. 318 first half yards to 117 second half yards. It's like 150 yard difference.
Never do math on the air, Brandon.
Never 150 yard difference between the first half and the second half. That's huge. That's a lot. And that's BYU's defense and Jay Hill helping with the adjustment right there. BYU defense stepping up.
Yeah, shout out Jay Hill. I feel like his ability to adjust is really impressive. I mean,
every game it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like every game we're starting off slow. And I know, Nate, you mentioned before we went on air the heart attack Cougs. Like, we're starting off slow, but then we're able to adjust. Like, problems get fixed. So I wonder if, like, can we do that against a really good team like Texas Tech? Like, if we come out slow, are we going to be able to win? And we can address that later.
That's an interesting topic to discuss, which I do believe we'll discuss later.
Okay.
Yeah. Nate, what do you think?
I think, just like Ty said, the major concern from that game is the Cardiac Cougs. And it's not only just against Iowa State, it's against other teams that we've been playing. Right?
Yeah.
We've got games going to overtime. We've got games where definitely should have won. I mean, even playing against Utah, that was a little too close for comfort.
Right.
The last drive. Like if Utah would have got that onside kick, Utah had a shot to win that game, right?
Exactly.
And so I think BYU needs to give us like hope.
Yeah.
And you can't be going into the.
Give us hope at the start of the game.
You got to give us hope at the second part of the game. I mean, going into the Iowa State game, I'm sitting there watching it with my friends, and I'm like, "Oh, we're down 14. Like, do we really think we can come back from this?" And I was like, "Of course we can. We're the freaking BYU Cougars. Of course we can come back from this game. We're down 14, and we end up winning by 14.
Yeah.
So I think going into Texas Tech, if we go down, I can see BYU coming back.
Really, even against the team as
But
good as
Texas
Tech.
Against-
Tech is such a good
I
team.
don't know if we
Against
can do
Texas Tech
that.
at Texas Tech, I think we can come back.
Let me throw out a statistic for you, and I want to see what you think about this one. Texas Tech, every single game they've played this year, besides the Arizona State game, where their starting quarterback was injured and not playing, besides that game, Texas Tech has won by at least 23 points in every single game. That's insane.
That is impressive.
That's very
That is
impressive.
very impressive.
And it's not like they've been playing like completely trash teams. Like they beat Utah, which I think is one of the best teams in the nation.
Whoa.
Okay.
Roll it back.
Not
there.
like a top
I'm gonna-
5 team, but like
I'm going to
we'll
agree
give them a
with
top
Brandon
20,
on this
top
one.
15 potentially.
Utah?
Yes.
Utah is good.
Okay.
Think about if Utah gets those 2 4th and 1s down in BYU territory.
I agree.
We're talking about a completely different look for this BYU team.
You look at-
And I think that also relates back to the point we were talking about with those key turnovers against Iowa State. It seems like our defense has been there when we've needed them to. Like we've adjusted. They've made the big plays. I just don't know if that's sustainable against a team as good as Tech or for a season as long as this one is.
Well, but if you do it once, it's luck, right? If you do it twice, it's also luck. But if
And
you
then go back to
consistently
last
do
season
it,
too, where
you
we
do it
did it
3
like 3 times.
Right, but eventually our luck did run. Like we lost to Kansas, and that broke
Right.
our season. You know, so while there is the argument that okay, we might be pretty good at this, maybe we are. I can also see us having a repeat of what happened last year.
it's very on the table. I think last year we had to learn by experience. And I mean, honestly, I don't know about you guys, but when I play a sports game, I don't think I can lose until the game hits, till the clock hits 0. And I know that BYU is the same way.
If it's like 99-0 with like 8
It doesn't
seconds
really
left.
matter. It doesn't really matter. Like, as an athlete,
still got this.
it makes the losses so much harder when you do lose. But for BYU against Arizona, I watched it with my apartment, and they all thought that it was over. I was like, we're gonna come back. I'm ready. And I know that everybody on the sideline, and they said after the game, especially like Evan Johnson came over and they were interviewing him, and he just made that same statement that we don't think we can lose. Like we never thought when did you think Spencer was like, when was the moment that you guys thought you could win the game? And he said from kickoff. And then never really
That's
shifted.
cold.
That
It
is
never
pretty
shifted.
cold.
It was really
Shout
cold.
out Evan Johnson.
Evan
man.
Johnson, Schmev,
Schmevy
bro.
boy.
Schmev the GOAT. But I think that's kind of what it boils down to, where BYU got into a hole against Iowa State. I saw some of the coaches kind of looking like frustrated because it wasn't going the way they wanted to, but they weren't frustrated because they were out of the game. That even though we had some honestly kind of horrendous series on offense and on
Oh, of
defense in that
course.
first half, that we were able to come back, and that BYU, no matter what happens on Saturday, they know they're in the game mentally, and that makes them just as good as any other team in the entire country.
Another thing is Kalani Sitake frequently mentions stay hungry and stay humble, right?
Yeah.
Love
It's having that absolute grind mindset. Like we're going to get out there and we're going to play our best football. And even when we go down, we're going to come back. And I was watching the cut, and in the
The
pregame
cut is
speech,
awesome, by the
cut
way.
Oh yeah,
is-
the cut.
If you
Shout out to
haven't
the
seen
cut.
the cut,
You should watch
definitely
every
check
cut
it out.
this entire season. They even make the Stanford game look way more exciting than it actually was.
Go watch the cut for Iowa State. Kalani Sitake talks about the football team, and he's like, we have not played our best football yet. He's like, this entire season, we have not played our best football yet. And he's like, do you guys agree? And they're like, yeah, we agree. So the team knows that they're not playing their best football. And so I could see their best coming out in Texas Tech. We had a week to rest, and now we're going to go to Texas Tech. We're going to have all of the eyes on this game. If we win this game, we could be going off to the college football playoffs. I could see the best football coming out of BYU.
Okay, I'm not trying to hate on BYU as well, but like if your coach asks you, "You think we've played our best football yet?" Like, you gotta say no, or you're getting cut. Let's
is
be
true.
honest here.
Running
I
sprints
wonder
all
if they
day
actually
long.
have played their best football already. I hope not. I hope they're just gonna keep improving, and that's what it has looked like so far this season. I don't know about you, This BYU offense was scaring me during the first 4 games of the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now, like, I'm confident in Bear and this BYU offense to, like, drive down the field when they need to and get a score.
I agree. It has looked a lot better. Those first couple games were rough.
Yeah, we couldn't score
Even
first
against,
time against
like-
Portland State.
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna
oh,
mention.
no.
That was a rough one.
That was a scary first minute of our season. I'll be honest. I
was
wasn't
interesting.
so sure how
Maybe
this
we're
was
not
gonna
as
go.
good as we thought we were.
Well, I think in these last couple of games, we have Bear Bachmeier throwing the ball. And we're going to get tested this week
Oh,
without
yes.
an LJ Martin. No more running game. What do you think about that?
Well, we might have LJ Martin.
Yeah, has it been?
We'll see.
I guess it comes out on Wednesday.
Depth chart
We
comes
don't
out
know yet.
Wednesday.
We'll see how. Yeah.
Let me throw this stat in here, and I want to see what you guys think about this. Here are our top running backs that will be able to play. Sione Moa is very doubtful for the game. I think, shocked if he played. So here are our next best running backs so far. Preston Rex, he has 20 Big 12 rushing yards. Enoch Nawahine has 18 Big 12 rushing yards. And Javesi Damuni has 11 Big 12 rushing yards. That is the complete total of our Big 12 rushing yards for those running backs not named LJ Martin.
And I
the
get
Big 12.
that shows some of their inexperience, but at the same time, it's like, have they had an opportunity? You know,
I would argue Preston Rex sort of had an
I
opportunity.
think Preston Rex has, but I don't know about the others. I feel like we need to see him.
Preston
in
Rex
action.
only has 9 carries for 20 yards.
yeah, and that's
for reference,
mostly.
our punter Sam Vanderhaar has 17 yards rushing.
Okay.
I did not record the punter stats. Thank
I
you,
just have it up.
Carter.
I have it up right here on ESPN. They have all of the rushers, and like half of them are running backs, and the other half are wide receivers. But I saw the punter, and I remembered the fake.
The fake.
A fake.
Yeah,
it
that was a
worked.
really interesting situation to do that fake. We won't go off on a tangent there. I wish BYU would have saved that fake for maybe a little later in the season. But
Would have been nice to have that one.
anyway, yeah, from what I've seen from Preston Rex at least, I'm not confident in him as a rusher. It looked like whenever he got the ball, he sort of just put his head down and tried to get some yards. The thing I love about LJ Martin is he's just so patient, and then once he finds a hole, he goes in and he's powerful. Preston Rex, this is a great player, by the way. I love Preston Rex.
What position was he converted from?
He was a converted safety.
Okay.
So he's doing incredible for his situation.
And when did that take place? It was fairly recently, was
training.
it? Just spring? Okay, yeah. So for how much experience he's had, he's obviously doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is pretty good going to be enough against a team that allows 75 rushing yards per game, the best in the nation, Texas Tech?
I think something that's going to be interesting to think about is the way the offensive line blocks for Preston Rex has to be different than the way they block for LJ Martin, because Preston Rex cannot beat the second level just by being bigger. He's at a 2-inch, 25-pound difference at a deficit compared to LJ Martin. So he's a lot thinner of a guy. He needs to
a
be
good point.
shiftier and speedier, where LJ runs smarter and has that field vision that maybe Preston, again, only barely converting over from the defensive side of the football, where he just doesn't have that yet. And so I think that's going to take some time from Preston to be able to get the field vision. But the offensive line blocking scheme might need to change as well to be able to get to the second level and get to the linebackers as well as seal off the backside.
Yeah, I love how you bring up the offensive line, because the offensive line isn't going to just have to provide some push for the rush game. But Texas Tech also has 2 of the top 3 sack leaders in the Big 12. David Bailey has 11.5 sacks on the season, and Romello Height has 6. So that duo is hopefully not going to provide too much worry for this BYU offense and Bear Bachmeier, who really has done a pretty good job at not getting sacked this year. What do you guys think? You guys confident about this at all? That BYU is going to have some offensive line push?
I think no matter what, the offensive line is going to need to step up for either the run game or the pass game. We might not have a run game, right? And it's like we might not have LJ Martin. We might have some pretty inexperienced rushers, but we're also going to need time in the pocket. So no matter what happens, we're going to need to have a solid offensive line to hold the pocket, let Bear Bachmeier step up and just make some big plays in the air, maybe even on his feet, a couple quarterback sneaks. No matter what happens, the offensive line needs to step up.
That's definitely true, I think. Just a quick Another stat nugget. I love how Brandon bringing out the stats. He's got me looking stuff up on
Stat
the fly. That's not the word. Anyway, Texas Tech on the
chicken
season.
tender.
Chicken tender. Here's a chicken tender that's going to be really important for this game. Is that Texas Tech on average they're averaging 12.7 points per game.
On the defensive side.
Okay, I was gonna
That
say
they're allowing.
what?
They're allowing. 'Cause they're winning games by
Somehow they're winning.
They're winning
with
games.
12 points a game.
They're winning games by more than double that on average.
Man.
So Texas Tech, BYU on offense, by some way has to do what nobody's done. Even Arizona State only put 26 points on the board. BYU, meanwhile, after putting up 24 points or more, BYU remains undefeated in the last 3 seasons. When they failed to do that, I think. When they fail to do that, they lose. But when BYU can get 24 points on the scoreboard, they win the
In the
ball
last
games.
3 seasons?
In the last 2 or 3 seasons. I
Didn't
don't
we
remember.
lose to?
They said it.
We lost
they
to
said it at
Oklahoma
Sports
State.
Nation. They said it at Sports Nation.
Yeah, I think
And
it's the
it was
last 2
2
seasons.
seasons.
Because I remember we lost to Oklahoma State in that season finale where we could have.
Oh yeah, it has to be the
clinched a
last
bowl
2
game.
seasons. It
It
has
was
to be
like
the last
double
2
overtime.
seasons.
Oh,
Because
such a frustrating.
Yeah, 5 and 7. There's no. Yeah. Anyway, so but when BYU puts up 24 points in 2024 and 2025, they are unbeaten. In the games that they lose, they failed to do that. So think BYU puts up that many points on the board, they can trust in the defense to be able to get the job done, and I think that's the best shot. They have to be able to score, move the football.
Texas
obviously.
Tech's offense is just so good too, putting up 40 points a game, pretty much. Like I think BYU's offense is. I think the defense is such a key, integral part of keeping BYU in the game. I don't think BYU's in this game if the defense just gives up 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, kind of like they did to Iowa State, or like Texas Tech scores over 30, 35 points. I don't think BYU can win this game. Like, BYU's defense has to keep them in the game. BYU's offense needs to put up enough points to win them this game. That's my opinion, at least.
I think BYU's defense has a very strong part where they're able to force interceptions. They're able to get to the quarterback. I mean, Rocco Beck had 3 interceptions for the whole season, and then in one game had 3 interceptions against BYU. I think BYU's going to be able to force those interceptions, and I think that's what's going to – those big plays are going to change the course of the game, forcing those turnovers. I think they're also going to be able to get to the quarterback really quickly. We have a phenomenal experienced defense. They're all senior. I don't think all of them are seniors, but most of them are seniors. I think one of our strongest suits is as a football team is we have a strong, experienced defense who can get to the quarterback, force turnovers, and set the offense up for success.
I would. There have been some games, though, where I feel like our rush hasn't done anything. Like this Iowa State game, the second half, our rush was in there and doing stuff. But the Arizona game, like I can't remember really any time before the fourth quarter where we got to the quarterback.
Fafita is pretty mobile, though, as a quarterback, right?
That's true.
I think that could be part of it. I don't know. I'd need to take a deeper look at that, but maybe.
Yeah. Let's hope you're right, Nate. I'm going to pray for Nate to be right and that we're going to get to Burton Morton and hopefully force a couple of turnovers.
I can't wait to see what they say about Morton, given the fact that he was day-to-day 2 weeks ago. He's not going to be as mobile a quarterback as most of the ones that have burned BYU on defense. So that's something to watch as well, to watch BYU secondary versus the Texas Tech receivers and the Texas Tech running back versus the BYU's front 7.
I will say, just as a point that could potentially be important in this game, backup quarterback Will Hammond out for the season. And he's been playing pretty well as their backup. He has 680 passing yards, 63.3% completion rate. Texas Tech did pretty well in every game he played. Obviously, they lost
Utah,
the Arizona game.
He was the quarterback that came in?
He came in, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So if for some reason Morton is not able to play up to par or he's maybe re-aggravates his injury, Texas Tech backup quarterback is not going to be available.
Dang.
Hate to see injuries, but love to see that for BYU, to be honest here. All right. Here's another point to bring up about BYU's offense. Texas Tech leads the leads the league in defensive yards per game. I don't remember if someone already brought this up. It's around 270 defensive yards per game. So that's not a lot. But the point I want to make is the next two teams in the Big 12 in defensive yards per game are Arizona and Utah. We put up both of those are around 300. They give up around 300 yards per game. BYU put up 430 yards against Arizona, 50 of those yards coming in overtime. So 380 non-overtime yards, and then 368 yards against Utah. So our offense has overperformed against these defensive teams. So there's a little bit of hope.
Yep. BYU defense also had 17 sacks. I don't know how that
17
How
sacks.
does that rank?
I don't know
against
how that
other
ranks
teams?
in like in the whole Big 12, but BYU is 17 sacks, 2 of them coming from Satuala, who also has 2 forced fumbles.
Falatau, bro. I love Falatau.
Absolute dog. He's leading BYU's defense. 1 sack, 4 sacks, or he's got 4 sacks for like losses.
You know, that makes me happy because I remember in the 5 and 7 year, a couple years ago, I think we had like 9 sacks that year. Is that right? I can't remember too well, but we could not get to the quarterback. So this BYU defensive adjustment,
Getting
where
to
we're
the
actually
quarterback.
able to get there, is great.
That's gonna be super important in this game.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, our let's see, our 17 sacks rank. I think it was they're tied for 11th in the Big 12.
Tied for 11th?
Yeah. So out of 16 teams, not great numbers, but I mean, first place is Texas Tech with 26, so 9
Oh,
more sacks.
great.
Yeah, chew on that one. But our interceptions have been there.
Does anyone have how many times BYU has been sacked?
We have been sacked 9 times this season.
That's great.
Our offensive line has stepped up. And how many of the sacks were against Iowa State? Was it 3
That we got sacked?
that we got sacked against Iowa State? Was it 2 or 3 times?
I can't remember. Yeah,
So anyway, per game we're doing very well.
we're doing
But
pretty good. It's going to be interesting to see us go against Texas Tech, whereas we haven't been sacked a lot, and then Texas Tech defensive line is phenomenal. So we'll see.
Yeah, our sacks allowed is tied for 3rd in the Big 12. So our offensive line has been playing very well.
I think when we put BYU and Texas Tech right next to each other on paper, BYU does not look like the better team. But I think if you go back and look at games where we won, BYU versus Utah, who had more passing and rushing yards, who had more total yards, Utah did.
Right.
How about Iowa State, who had more total yards? Iowa State ran all over us. I think they doubled our running yards, right? Our
Well,
rushing
yeah,
yards.
we also lost L.J. Martin in that game, so you got to take that into consideration. But
Yeah, but
they did run all over us.
on paper, every single time, BYU just somehow defies odds.
I feel like I see your point coming in here.
And I think we're looking at this and we're like, oh, Texas Tech's number 1 and all of these things. I think because Texas Tech is number 1, we should have confidence in our BYU Cougs. The cardiac Cougs is what they call them, right? We can have faith in the cardiac Cougs because they never look better on paper, ever. At the end of every single game against Utah, Iowa State, we're always looking trash. And so I think we're looking at BYU versus Texas Tech. The line's 10 points. We're supposed to lose by 10.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I did want to talk
Those
about
are not
that,
great
actually.
odds.
Right?
I did want to talk about that.
But
Kind
I
of
mean,
disrespect from Vegas. I don't know.
but I mean, against Iowa State, the line was 3. And so I think they're always going against BYU. And I think at the end of the day, BYU always pulls out a miracle.
That is true.
Yeah,
I think this is exactly where we want to be going into this game. We did not want to be the top 10 team in the country, number 8. We did not want to come into this game favored to win on the road. Kalani loves playing the underdog. I think being down double digits will give him motivation, and they don't care. Like Nate mentioned, BYU does not care what the line says. We don't go to Vegas and put wagers on these games. So
Speak for yourself.
They're not paying, they're not paying too much attention to that. But knowing that everybody's thinking that Texas Tech will win this game will definitely fire up BYU.
I'm going to be honest. I don't see us winning this game. I feel like this game is where the clock strikes midnight and just time runs out. Like I don't think we're going to be able to do it against this good of a team.
You know what?
I think luck like we've had or our clutch plays, I think at some point the tide is going to turn and we're not going to get lucky.
See, that's
And
what
to be honest, I hope you're right, Nate. I hope that doesn't happen. I really do. And I can see it happening both ways. It'll be really interesting to see what happened. Like, I'm curious to see. This is a very interesting game.
So the question, Ty, is if we lose this game against Texas Tech, do we still go to the playoffs?
I think if we win out after losing this,
if we win out,
then
like,
we're for sure going to the Big 12.
all that
title
really
game.
matters is the Big 12 championship game.
But it would be the Big 12 title against Texas Tech.
The only scenario where I see us going into the playoff losing the Big 12 championship game is if we lose to Texas Tech twice in 2 close games.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that would be it.
And we both get in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe like we lose to Cincy in a close one too. Like really, other than that, the Big 12, you're gonna have to win the Big 12 championship game or go undefeated and then lose.
Because right now it's BYU. Texas Tech has 1 loss, right?
Yep.
And then Cincinnati has 2 losses. Utah has 2 losses.
Well, Cincinnati has 1 Big 12 loss, which is really all that matters.
they have 1 Big 12.
If we're
loss.
talking about the Big 12 championship game,
So Cincinnati and Texas Tech are tied with 1 loss in the conference.
Yes.
And so as long as BYU loses, if they lose to Texas
They
Tech,
just have to split those
they have to
games.
beat Cincinnati. But
They should have to
if
split those games.
if they beat Texas Tech, they can also lose to Cincinnati. I don't think there's a situation where we can lose both and go to the conference title.
It would
Yeah.
be very unlikely.
We'll
It would
see.
require another one of those upset losses, like a Texas Tech losing to Arizona State kind of caliber loss. It would take one of those from Cincinnati for BYU to get in.
I think just like to wrap up, we have about like 4 more minutes for when we're coming up on 30. I think we should give what our score is going to be. Like what
for
is
all
the
the
final score
preparation
going
I've
to
done
be?
for this podcast, I did not think about that
consider
at
a
all.
score either.
I think I can go first.
Go
Go
ahead.
for it. Go for it.
I think we're going to see something like 35-28 BYU wins it. I think
That is
I
a
think
very bold take. You think we're gonna win by 7 and we're
I think I have faith in
That's
BYU.
insane.
I don't have faith that we're going to absolutely blow them out of the water. I don't think we're going to beat them by 10 points. I think we're going to have a last-minute touchdown, and we're just going to put the icing on the cake. I could see this game going into overtime. I think BYU pulls it out.
okay.
That's my bold take.
I
like it.
I respect it, although I don't disagree with it.
Let's see. I think this one is going to be a close one. I think, like Nate said. Honestly, it's kind of a little bit of a blind take, but I'd say 31-28 BYU.
31-28.
Field goal that.
A field
Got
goal.
some blue goggles on over here, I think.
Yep, I think so. That's what I'm talking about. Here
Will Farron.
hype the white. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hike the
Okay.
white, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. I think, but whoever gets off to a faster start will win because Texas Tech, if they start the same way they did against Kansas State, I don't think that they can beat if BYU starts fast. If they start slow and BYU starts fast combined, I don't think that Texas Tech can come back and get back in the game, going down so quickly if they can't start fast.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree.
Can I give 2 score predictions based on 2 scenarios? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, you got to tell us which one you.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Scenario 1, we start fast, like Connor was talking about. If we start fast,
Ideal scenario.
that's the ideal
Everybody
scenario.
wants this.
I feel like if we start fast, then this is going to be a close game. And I could see us sneaking out a win, something along the lines of like 27-24.
Ooh.
If we start slow, I think we're cooked.
I agree.
honestly don't think we can overcome the odds again against a team that's this good. After having done it so many times, I just think our luck is going to run out at some point. And that could very well be this game if we don't come out swinging. That being said, if we don't come out fast, I think the score is going to be... It's going to be pretty rough. I think we're going to get blown out. I would go...
Okay.
I would say, gosh, I don't know, 17 for BYU, 31 Texas Tech, and one of those touchdowns for us comes in garbage time. That's my hot take.
Okay.
Not an ideal scenario.
So you're saying it's like 10-31, and then like 1 minute left, BYU scores.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
very
Oof.
optimistic, but honestly, I think that's the more likely scenario for this game,
I won't,
especially
I
if
won't disagree
LJ
with you.
is not able to play.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's
That's
a good
true.
point. We should have
LJ is
considered
Okay,
LJ.
my first score was if LJ plays. We do not score 31 points if LJ Martin is not in the game, or is not at least in the game for part of it.
I'm standing on business.
Okay.
He's standing on business.
LJ
LJ or no
LJ or no LJ, BYU has the arm. We have the wide receivers. I'm not too worried about it.
You know what I learned about LJ today?
Yeah, let's hear it.
His name's John.
Are
Did you guys know that?
I
No.
did not
His
know that.
dad's name is John too. He goes by Little John. Or
why it's
LJ.
LJ.
Oh, LJ.
Dude,
Yeah.
why don't we get like some Robin Hood Little John stuff out with this?
Yeah.
Why is he even
tough.
keeping this a secret,
Yeah.
bro? He's almost graduating. How
Guess
can
he
we
doesn't
not?
like the name John.
Probably not. That's
Is he? He's a junior.
he's a junior.
right?
Just kidding.
Okay.
I forget.
6'2", 220.
Mm.
Big boy
Still weighs less than Bear, which is
from El
crazy.
Paso,
That's
Texas.
insane.
Anyway, before my prediction, I just want to throw out a couple of things. JoJo Phillips is back.
Oh, really?
Is
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I've seen. Maybe
reportedly
like
back.
maybe he won't be back, but I'm pretty
Pending
sure he's
Wednesday.
back. That could totally boost the BYU wide receiver room. Besides, I gotta pull it up real quick.
I agree with you, especially if he's off the scouting report because he's been out for so many games.
Yeah.
They don't have film
Here,
on him.
let me say this: besides Chase Roberts, Parker Kingston, and Carson Ryan, no other BYU player has over 100 receiving yards.
Mhm.
So that could really boost the BYU receiver room. And then one more interesting fact: I researched this and I couldn't find any other scenario where BYU, as a top 10 team, has played a top 10 team, which is really interesting.
Really?
So I think this is the first time in BYU history that's happened.
That might be
But
Interesting.
we'll see.
Miami in 1990. We were outside of the top 10.
Yeah.
When we played Miami. That's
The
the,
thi-
that's the
the
only
best
time I can
the
think
best
of.
teams we've played, we were like the best teams we played as like when we were good. We were always in the Mountain West,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd play like our bowl game against some team from like the Pac-12 or something. So, yeah. Anyway, my score prediction. I think I'm going to side with Ty here. As optimistic of a BYU fan that I am, I'm going to go with Texas Tech in this one. I think Texas Tech jumps out to an early lead. BYU tries to pull an Iowa State where they come back, but it just doesn't happen all the way. I'll go like 31-27. Well, BYU doesn't.
Yeah.
BYU covers the spread, but
That's a fair.
doesn't win.
I like that.
I would say that if LJ doesn't play, I'd kind of go more toward what Brandon said.
Okay, so I just asked ChatGPT.
All knowing.
I'll know.
Texas
Greatest
Tech
power
versus
in the
BYU,
world.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I asked for ChatGPT's prediction.
I asked for ChatGPT's prediction.
What did it say?
It says Texas Tech
Of course, it's going to go with Texas Tech. 'cause
31, BYU
21.
24. It says this
So-
score reflects a competitive, high-scoring game where Texas Tech uses home advantage and a slight edge in offensive capability to narrowly defeat BYU. It matches the expected close nature of Texas Tech's favored status in this matchup, which is 61% to BYU's 39.
We'll see. I have asked ChatGPT questions before on my math assignments, and it's gotten them wrong. So
ChatGPT
not
does
always
all-knowing.
correct.
I'm very curious to see how this game goes.
I'm
As a football
so
fan,
excited.
I'm excited to watch this game,
This is
and
one
I
of the
hope
best.
I am
this
wrong.
Is culture. This is culture,
Yeah.
guys. This is, I think, another random stat, big one to see is Kalani Sitake's record as a head coach coming off of a bye week. Granted, some of the teams have not been. He's only been in the Big 12. This is his third season.
Yeah.
But he is. If I'm found this right, he is 5-4 coming off a bye week, and that's one of those wins is this season
That's not
as
good.
well. So that's something to watch out for. But the positive BYU stat that I was trying to look at, BYU's fourth down conversion rate. First thing, the amount of times we go for fourth down, and the second thing is the amount of times we get it. We are 70% on fourth down.
14 for 20, is that right?
Yes. And so if BYU gets into fourth and short situations, we usually go for it. I don't know where we rank in the nation on fourth.
And the
on
beautiful
attempts
thing about
versus
that, I
gets.
think the reason that is so high is because of one man named Bear
That
Bachmeyer.
is true.
I would also say LJ Martin, but having a QB who can bowl someone over is so important in a short yardage situation. So just glad for Bear Bachmeyer. That's my thankful moment for the day.
Let's go.
Anyway, You guys have any closing comments?
Yeah, I do have one more closing comment about Bear Bachmeier. I think this is the last statistic. BYU is undefeated every single time Bear Bachmeier touches the ball.
That is true.
Right?
Are you kidding me right now?
I see Bear Bachmeier touching this ball in Texas Tech, and we win.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
It's BYU's 8-0 every time
Shai's head is in his hands.
every time BYU Bear Bachmeier touches the ball, BYU wins. Okay, I think
That's a
stat to know.
wild statistic.
wild statistic.
That's the chicken tender stat that we need.
Okay, wrap us up.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll try to have another podcast out next week. And enjoy your weekend. Go Cougs!
Go Cougars!
Go Cougs!